How we doing? Short video here, but topic of discussion is going to be finding space in your day to let your thoughts go and how that can influence you, how that can bring you peace, how that can bring you happiness despite a very busy world. So we all know on one end of the extreme we have monks. Monks are those people who go into the mountains and they renounce everything. They say, I'm not going to enjoy the basic pleasures of life, and I'm going to find peace completely internally. That's one end of the extreme. The other end of the extreme is you're a drug addict and you only seek external things. Whether you realize it or not, you're probably somewhere in between. You're not an extremist. You might be a drug addict. I think a lot of people are leaning towards looking for external stuff. My point is this. Most of us are not going to reach some crazy state of enlightenment. We're just not going to. And so what we call, and let me just establish that when your mind is running, it's kind of like a heartbeat. So if you're not aware, your heart has a limited number of beats before you die. Every heartbeat, your heart is dying. And you want to think of your mind the same way. You don't want to be constantly using your monkey brain, where there's a bunch of monkeys up there going bananas while you're streaming with thoughts. You don't want to be using that all the time. You don't want to be acting out of that state 24/7. And how do you get out of that? Well, focus. It's kind of a lot of focus. It's number one, it's not thinking about the past or the future. Anytime you're thinking about the past, it's pulling you out of what you're doing right then and there. And anytime you worry about the future, you're suffering in your imagination of what you think the future might be based on your past experiences. And it's stupid. Why don't you just experience what you're doing right then and there? That's always the goal. Now, your thoughts are not inherently bad. I'm not saying that. But if it's like a muscle or your heart, we want to rest our minds when we can. So we want to shut it off and let it hibernate when we don't need to use it. It's a very powerful tool, but we want to rest it and recover it. That's going to make it work better. It's like a muscle. In the gym, you need to recover your muscles. And so you sleep and you rest and you recover. You need to do the same thing with your brain. If you're working 24/7, that's what leads to burnout. You're not giving your brain any rest. So how do you give your brain rest, though? For me, it's just a break in my thoughts. I like to walk. I go for a 20, 30-minute walk. And I've kind of been experimenting with music lately. How does music affect my meditative state? And it's just a different kind of thing. You're not going to reach meditation with music on. It's just not going to happen. In a very simple definition, what we're looking for is to only be focused on one thing. For a lot of people, they only get that when they do drugs, when they do a really hard workout, when they get scared, when they are in love, when they are looking at a very beautiful scene, a very beautiful sunset. Sometimes for people, that's the only time they ever experience their mind shutting off. However, it's a skill to shut your mind off, and it takes a really long time to build it up. That's the only thing. It's just a whole nother skill, but the cool thing about it is it's something you can work on at all points in time. There's not a moment in time when you can't practice being there completely. That's really the goal, is just whatever you're doing at that moment, just be there. Because you're allowing your pain and discomfort by moving to the past or the future when you're right here. You're always right here. And sometimes you do need to use the analytical mind, the thinking mind, quote unquote, but you don't need to overuse it. You don't need to be running it 24/7. Just run it when you need it. So go for walks, make sure you work out, make sure you journal. These little things that people talk about that are cool, it's really just for clearing out up here. But if you have a really bogged up memory or mind, you're not going to be able to make decisions clearly. It's going to affect your health. The mind is such a powerful thing. You need to get control of it. And it starts by taking control little by little. It's just, the objective is to get a few windows of time each day that are untouched by thoughts, dumb thoughts at least. Yes, you can have thoughts. You can walk down the street and think about something. But you don't need to be wandering into the past and the future and worrying about the past, regretting the past, or worrying about what might happen in the future that probably won't happen. That's like wasting heartbeats unnecessarily. We don't need to be doing that. So conserve your happiness, conserve your mental heartbeats, if you will. Let the brain recover. And you do that through finding presence in a healthy way, which would be walking, a workout, having a deep conversation about something unrelated to work. It could be hanging out with someone you really love. It could be your girlfriend. That's another reason people get so addicted to relationships. They might not always be addicted to the person. I think love's real, but a lot of times people might just fall in love with the presence that they feel with that person. It's, wow, this person makes me feel like the past is irrelevant and the future is unthinkable. It doesn't matter. That's what people get from love. That's one of the most addicting things about the whole experience. It might not mean that you're fully in love with that person. You just love that they give you an outlet. They give your brain that space that it wants. And that's not a bad thing. Love is a very complicated topic that I'm not qualified to discuss. I have read very little on that, and I'm a young guy, so I have a lot to experience in that realm. But I am coming along. I'm learning and growing in that realm. So I hope this video was helpful. I'm in a really big sales push right now, so videos are just coming out wherever they come out. Other than that, free program, link in bio, atomiclifestyle.fit, free workout program. That's how I got my muscles that I have. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just have a good rest of your day. I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, subscribe.